Humankind has grown strong in eternal struggles, and it will only perish through eternal peace. Adolf Hitler after World War I. Although the effect of the treaty was beneficial to the countries who participated in the drafting, the fall of the war fell on Germany. This caused Germany to go into recession, which provoked Hitler into dictatorship from the decrease in Germany's power and economy, therefore leading the treaty to create more destruction than tranquility. Since the U.S. and other countries involved believe the destruction left from the war was caused by Germany, the Treaty of Versailles was mainly written by David Lloyd George of Britain, Georges Clemenceau of France, Woodrow Wilson of the U.S., and Vittorio Orlando of Italy, or as they were better known, the Big Four, excluding any involvement from German representatives and other defeated countries. The Big Four met up on July 18th in 1914 at Élysée, Paris for the Peace Conference, which was the first meeting out of around 145. Each member of the Big Four had a different perspective on what should be written in the treaty, based on how much their countries were affected by the war.
President Woodrow Wilson was opposed to harsh punishment towards Germany, although the U.S. was not greatly affected by the war nor as involved. He wanted to create a League of Nations, based off his 14 points, to prevent another world war from happening. Georges Clemenceau believed Germany should be harshly punished due to the amount of damage that Germany had done to the French. He believed Germany should pay for the damage and losses from the war, their military power should be weakened, was opposed to Woodrow Wilson's League of Nations idea, and wished to gain Alsace-Lorraine and Rhineland. Lloyd George believed harsh punishment is necessary, but the country shouldn't suffer because he wanted Germany to keep away from communism and increase trade with them. Lloyd George was an in-between, since England had suffered high war losses, but little land damage. Vittorio did believe that Germany should be punished, however, his main concern was to gain the Adriatic coast.
After much compromising, the terms of the treaty were created. Many territories owned by Germany were given back or taken control of. Their army was restricted to 100,000 men. Submarines and Air Force were not allowed. Germany was not allowed to join the League of Nations and had to pay 132 billion gold marks, which in American money is around $33 million. A war that was fought for insane reasons and brought devastation to many families only ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919. Captain Hank, backcracker. The families who suffered began returning home. The economy of the U.S. was booming, and resources gained restored all that was lost in the war. Germany was now prevented from beginning a new war. The treaty began to appear as if it saved the greater part of the world.
From 1918 to 1919, Germany was in a state of disarray. After they signed the Treaty of Versailles, the government began collapsing and Germany fell into economic and political depression. Nationalists and veterans would strike across the country because they believed the war could have been won without the betraying of politicians and protesters. One nationalist who obsessed over how the war could have been was Adolf Hitler. Hitler believed the war had been lost because of Jewish people. Since others in Germany were already prejudiced against the Jewish society, Hitler's ideas appealed the German society. Fear and anger from the Great War resulted in anti-Semitism and created bigotry. The conspiracies that Hitler had created had gained him leadership through joining a nationalistic party to exploit his corrupt ideas. Hitler gained leadership through his manipulative ways. The vulnerability of the German people was crucial to Hitler so that he could use propaganda to tell the people what they wanted to hear.
Hitler promised a way out of the economic struggles they were facing from the treaty. Through his public speeches, Hitler shared his ideas of anti-Semitism and was strongly opposed to capitalism or communism. Across Germany, posters that demonstrated Hitler being a caretaker of children and families could be seen, although this was later proven false from his atrocious actions. Most of the people of Germany were fooled by his propaganda. The newly formed Nazi Party was attempted to overthrow the government, which was unsuccessful, and the party was banned. Hitler was jailed for betraying Germany and was set to be released 5 years later from Landsberg prison. However, he shared his ideas and created his book, Mein Kampf, and was released after 9 months due to his supporters pressuring his release. As soon as he was released, Hitler began to rebuild his party. 5 years after he was released, the Great Depression hit the U.S., and they stopped loaning money towards Germany.
Hitler promised to restore Germany's greatness after the incident had caused the economy to collapse. Hitler and the leading Nazis organized the party, and Hitler ran for president in 1932. He eventually lost to Paul von Hindenburg. Hindenburg later recognized Hitler's potential and promoted him to chancellor. 2 years later, Hindenburg passed away, and the fallen democracy allowed Hitler to be appointed as the new dictator. During Hitler's reign as dictator, his actions were mostly treacherous. He began to give hate speeches, which were clear to some that he was ambitious to become a world leader. Hitler wrongfully felt that all should be blonde-haired and blue-eyed Catholics, in order to create an idealistic society. Hitler was prejudiced against the Jewish and therefore decided to place them in concentration camps. Most countries, including the United States, were opposed to Jewish, although most were unaware of how harsh the Jewish were being treated in the camps. The Jews were deprived of food, were forced to work even though they were too weak. They were also put into tight and crowded sleeping quarters, and much more.
Most were divided from their families, and around 6 million Jews were murdered in gas chambers, experiments, and many other brutal ways. England caught word of the treatment of the Jewish, and because of this, on September 3, 1939, Neville Chamberlain, who at the time was the Prime Minister of Britain, declared war on Germany, thus causing Axis powers, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, France, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, India, the Soviet Union, and the United States to go against Germany, therefore causing the start of World War II, which ended in the year 1945 on September 2nd, leaving Germany at a loss. This led to the end of the Nazi Party and freed the Jewish after being tortured for 10 years. These tragedies all relate back to the assignment of blame in the Treaty of Versailles. Was the suffering worth the revenge?